We've got Chris on technical, Neil on insight, and Steve in the driving seat. It's Talking Formula One.
Good evening. Welcome to Talking F1. Do not adjust your watches, your calendars, your clocks. It's not Wednesday. It is Monday due to conflicting schedules. Unfortunately, unable to do Wednesday. So we're coming to you a couple of days earlier, which is all good because the Hungarian Grand Prix is fresh in our memory. As it was obviously full of excitement, lots of overtakes, drama, left, right, and centre, right from the off to the checkered flag. Well, yeah, there was a Grand Prix. So, Anyway, welcome to Talking Formula One, of course, your weekly F1 pit stop. A little bit earlier this week, as I say. Of course, as I always say, I can't do it on my own as much as I can talk F1 to absolutely no one. So please welcome in the co-host, Chris.
And the man that's got a degree in F1, the wise owl, Chris Lando.
Austria's an old school circuit. If you go off, you're off.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, no, very well, thank you. We're still waiting for Neil, so no doubt a private chat will come through when he is good to go, and obviously we can then bring him in. So, yesterday's Grand Prix, that was all go, wasn't it? That was action.
Yeah, like every other Grand Prix this season, it was fantastic from 2 to 20. Unfortunately, there has got to be a winner, and it's always the same winner.
What does it say for Formula One when qualifying is more exciting than the race?
I was loving qualifying. I thought this actually might be a decent race, especially because McLaren's always fast starting, as proved again this weekend. And normally Hamilton is one of the best starters on the grid. He always tends to make up places. But you got Verstappen, does you know that he has that tactic of I'll take the inside and just run you wide.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just that killed that spectacle for the Grand Prix, that in terms of the race winner.
Verstappen going full Verstappen.
But from in behind, it was quite an interesting race for the first part. I mean, it was kind of they were all managing the tyre temps and the brake temps, which they always do in Hungary because it's quite a brake limited circuit. So, but yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I love the fact that the Alpines just seem to always just find each other.
I felt so bad.
They don't like each other off the track, and they don't like each other on it, by the looks of it.
Well, I think that was just really unfortunate. It was Zhou Guanyu just decided to mash Ricciardo into Ocon.
You see the onboard start. It's almost like if you play the F1 game and you forget that you actually got to press go.
Yeah, let go of the clutch.
Sort of 2 or 3 seconds happened, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I better go." And by the time everybody powered past him.
Yeah, whether it was, he's got a bit, he's obviously lost out heavily at the start, maybe panicking, bit of concentration loss. Ricciardo was close to the back of the Alpine anyway. And Ocon just gave him that little nudge into the back of Ricciardo, who then hit Ocon, who unfortunately went into Pierre Gasly and broke Ocon's seat apparently as well. So Ocon had to go to the medical centre.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it was neither the Alpine's fault, in all honesty. It's just one of those things, wrong time, wrong place, and all that jazz.
It was unfortunate, wasn't it?
Ricciardo got away with it. I thought he was lucky not to get any substantial damage.
Fair play to him. He out-qualified Tsunoda and then outraced him as well, despite dropping to the back with first thing.
Completely showed up Nick De Vries, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if that was De Vries who'd got tangled at the start, he'd have stayed there.
Even after that incident, he fell back last. He managed to pull himself back into. He finished 13th in the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
And on all poses strategy where they put him in clean air and then just used his pace to get him up the field and then hold on because they knew it'd be hard to overtake. But even that sort of adjustability and tactics that you never saw when De Vries had like a front wing damage. That was it. He was always last. He was going to be last.
Yeah, Ricciardo's knowledge and experience really showed through there. It was a solid race for him, but I had such high hopes at the start. We hadn't seen a Hamilton pole, surprisingly, since Saudi Arabia, 2021.
Which should have been a puddle over because Verstappen was on for an absolute mighty wasn't he?
Oh, that was the race, wasn't it? Yeah, when Verstappen should have nicked it and then just banged himself into the barriers at the end. And Hamilton pole, so much hype and build up. You know, he had Hamilton and Verstappen on the front row together. You had Norris and Piastri right up there, Zhou right up there as well.
I thought Zhou could be a little cat amongst the pigeons if he had a good start.
Yeah, and it all went to pot, didn't it? Because
as I say,
start,
with Mercedes, Hamilton's normally fast starts. I thought we could beat, he'd beat down turn one, and he could possibly, bring the McLarens into play with Verstappen. But I mean, they said that what made Saturday interesting, actually, made Sunday so uninteresting for Verstappen, was that they compromised their 1 lap pace for the race, and that in themselves made Saturday interesting, because you thought that actually everybody caught up when actually they hadn't. They just decided to concentrate on the race.
Yeah, and then Sunday back to normal. Well, usually there are 3 of us, and this week there is actually 3 of us. There wasn't last week, obviously. So we do have Mr. Positivity to bring in, so welcome him in.
Mr. Positivity, Neil Mole.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Evening, Neil. Welcome in. You all right?
Hello there. Yeah, not too bad.
Good. Good week? 2 weeks?
Yeah, same old, really.
Did you thoroughly enjoy Hungary?
Oh, it was fabulous.
It was. This was...
I must admit, I missed 12 laps because the missus nodded off and I joined her.
It wasn't one of the all-time classics, was it? It was, like we said earlier, so much build-up with the qualifying order. And then after turn 1, it was same old, really, apart from you had the McLarens back up there. So,
yeah, I think it was the second pit stops I missed because I woke up and then they were, as it was getting good.
Yeah. But one of the talking points we've got tonight, of course, is... Sorry, carry on.
Oh, no, I was just thinking that on the second pit stops, why is the Mercedes first part of the race with high fuel load, it doesn't do anything. And then if you get past, I don't know, a quarter of fuel load with a medium or even hard tyre, it just turns into a rocket ship.
Just wakes up, doesn't it?
Hamilton was doing, I think he was half a second quicker than Norris for 12 to 14 laps after he put that medium on. He was quicker than Perez in the last 5 laps.
Yeah, he was catching Perez,
wasn't he? Verstappen, because Verstappen still had brand new tyres that was going that slow. But
yeah, no, he was catching Perez.
I find it strange that how it start of the race, it's not that quick, and then as soon as it burns some fuel off, it suddenly just turns into the second best car.
It was a hell of a drive. Yeah, sort of towards the end of the race, obviously, when you like you say, he'd been nowhere. He dropped to 4th and he sort of stayed around that sort of area, didn't he? Because both McLarens got him. And but yeah, towards the end of the race, Perez was up ahead of him, but he was catching Perez. He had Russell coming through the field as well from 18th to 6th. A good drive by George, to be fair. Kept his nose clean and kept his head down and got on with it. More than made up for Saturday's issues. But what surprised me the most was McLaren. They were very strong in Silverstone, but Hungary, very different circuit. It's been called Monaco without the walls, and it's all slow speed corners and twisty turns, and they were on it. Was it third and fourth in quali, and second and fifth, I think, on the road. Piastri got overtaken a couple of times, didn't he? But obviously, Neil, as the resident McLaren fan, you must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, as Chris mentioned already, that Red Bull lulled us into a sense of security that thought the others had actually made a race of it, and no, wasn't to be. So I'm a little bit down the route of neither Lewis or the McLarens could actually do anything.
The amount of people that were saying, we need Hamilton and Verstappen to go back to 2021 and wipe each other out at the first turn, and then Lando Norris comes through and takes the win. And I think that was wishful thinking. There was always that little what if, because we've seen Hamilton and Verstappen go wheel to wheel until very recently. I think the most recent one in Brazil last year. And there was that sort of, what if anything did happen to the leaders? Lando Norris is in, a perfect position here in a good car. Well, we all know how that went, but yeah, they're looking good.
We need a full Verstappen DNF in order for him not to win a Grand Prix. That's how far ahead he is in that car.
Yeah,
if him and Lewis come together in that first corner, he takes his wing off. It doesn't matter. He's still winning that race.
He could continue with no front wing. Doesn't even need to come in for a new one. Yeah, just carry on.
Silverstone, who apparently lost 5 points down second on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Did you boys hear about the new trophy thing there, or award they're planning on handing out for? Is it pole position, fastest lap, winning the race, and leading every lap of the race?
What's like a Grand Slam trophy?
Yeah, basically.
Seems pointless, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Max has had more of them this season than Lewis had in his best reign that he had. Yeah. So that's yet another thing that says, when everyone goes on about that Lewis's reign was as dominant as this one, it wasn't, because he didn't get as many of these as Max is now.
No, what surprised me, LG, welcome in. Love your F1 Live videos. Thank you. Glad you enjoy watching us. Obviously, we're here every week, so do tune in. Don't play Scale Extras, to be honest, although I did love it when I was a kid. The thing that baffles me is that how dominant Lewis Hamilton was from 2014 to 2020, apart from that small segment when Ferrari were very good, is that he never achieved 7 wins on the bounce. Whereas now Verstappen has. Vettel did 9 back in 2013. Rosberg did it. Fangio did it. More probably have. But Hamilton has never managed 7 wins in a row. And that does surprise me because he was insanely dominant in that car. So just how good this Red Bull is.
Yeah, he has tracks that I don't know whether he just doesn't like and he doesn't ever hook up. Hungary being one of his favourite ones, and he just gets it right. But you get certain tracks where he just doesn't seem to turn up on. And I think that's one of the main reasons why he never quite got the same winning streak as Verstappen or Vettel. Because he hit that track. I can't which what's the one? I can't remember what it is, but there's one a few races ago that he doesn't particularly do that well at. And you tend to see it quite easily by he gets out qualified there. I remember Russia being one. Russia being a very, very prime one with him and Bottas.
Bottas was good at Russia.
Half a second quicker than him at Russia.
Yeah, that was a strong circuit for Bottas.
Yeah, but Hamilton just didn't like it at all.
No, and it just seems that Verstappen just doesn't have these circuits he doesn't go well at, and the Red Bull doesn't have a weak circuit. We've seen Aston Martin drop off at certain races. We've seen Mercedes be good at some, and Ferrari, even teams like Williams, but the Red Bull is just a rocket at every single race. That's partly what makes it so surprising that McLaren was good, because people thought, that McLaren would drop off maybe in Hungary because it's so different from Silverstone. But they were brilliant. They were on it.
I was speaking to someone earlier on, and this is an interesting point for F1. A lot of people are now interested in F1, especially in America, because of the Netflix series, etc., etc. But as much as it's been good for the last few years, Max Verstappen continuously winning, especially for the Generation Z and etc., who have got very short attention spans. It will get boring very, very quick.
Yeah,
and then they're going to lose that momentum that they've built over the last few years with Netflix, etc. If you just got Verstappen, despite where he starts, which is he could start last and he'd win the Grand Prix at the minute, it gets boring very, very quick.
I don't know how you feel about it.
He can turn the wick down and be half a minute ahead.
It's incredible. I don't know how. Excuse me.
Markets like the new fan that they've got in the door effectively at the minute could just go off. This is boring. I'm going off, and then you've just got the people like us, Ray, who enjoy the sport, still watching it, but that has then just gone back to what it was 10 years ago.
Yes, whether you guys sort of feel the same, it's like these new type of fans that come through the door. Obviously, they're used to the F1 Drive to Survive, and the over dramatizing of Drive to Survive, making everything else be this big drama. They then, and obviously 2021, they then expect every race to be an absolute banger, and they expect to see a fight for the win, and they expect to see all of this stuff kicking off, and then they sit there and watch like 23, where there's not really no races really stand out as being exciting because one car is clearly ahead, and they think, there's no point, Whereas, like I say, we know what F1 can be like, and you've got these periods of just utter domination.
But 2021 was a bit of an anomaly, really. You had, I think the last time I can remember it was really 2010 with Vettel Alonso, where you had two very good drivers two different teams,
Mm.
two team principals who didn't even get on. You had like a perfect storm of rivalry that you could pit against each other, and every track they went to, it was nip and tuck.
Mm.
And it just created the greatest story for Drive to Survive, and then creating that buzz. And I just think it's quickly losing it because one man show. Much like the Premier League is with Man City, really. I mean, even like last year, Arsenal, 8 points ahead, but you think that Man City's going to win.
It is, and they still fell away. But LG, thanks for answering. What cars do you drive? I don't know about you two. I drive an Audi. I'm one of those. What about you? What do you drive, Chris?
Honda Civic.
There you go. Neil?
I've got the same car I had since 2009.
Oh, yeah?
It's a 2006 plate Skoda Fabia.
You know what? You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Good old 190 TDI.
Yeah, I've got 190
served you well.
No. That is a solid bit of kit. Yeah, people, they have a thing about Skodas, but they're fantastic little cars. But LG in the market for a Tesla. Nice, good choice. There we go.
If I had to go electric, a Tesla is what I'd choose.
Yeah,
I
Tesla.
want to go electric, but we won't start on that. So
yeah, I'll stick. I like a bit of internal combustion. Give me a
Hybrid,
1968 V8 in a Mustang. That'd be fine.
Yeah, hybrids as far as I think I'd go.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump back to the hybrids, and we'll jump back to a team that didn't fare too well. Imagine we've been saying that quite a lot this year. The red team.
Their pit stop.
Yeah, 9.4 second pit stop for Charles Leclerc, and then a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Charles Leclerc. They didn't really seem to be anywhere in qualifying. They weren't anywhere in the race. Oh, yeah. I suppose, Twitter's now rebranded to X, isn't it? So stupid. They were just nowhere at all. And even Carlos was picking out his own strategies. And that team just looks like a walking joke at the minute. Rolling joke or on wheels? Rolling joke at the minute. It's
terrible.
They're doing everything wrong. I know that Fred Vasseur, he's not going to make an impact right away. But good grief, this is painful. It's worse than last year.
The pit stop you can excuse. I mean, that happens. It's human error or even equipment. Not the nut isn't coming off properly or the gun failed. It happens. That's just life. But it just seems to happen with Ferrari at exactly the wrong moments.
Yeah, they have that
like
perfection.
There's no authority in like the race strategy or like Sainz's race engineer asking him what they should do. He should be telling them. Yeah. Like, you get the feedback off the driver, and then you make the strategy from there, because the driver will always think he knows best, but at the end of the day, they're the person who has the least idea what's going on.
Mm.
So they give you what you need to know about the car he's driving, and then you work out what's happening on the track, and you do it from there. And him saying, "Oh, do this, do that," and even Leclerc at some points was sort of making his own strategy up.
Mm.
Yeah, which I'm sure it was Sainz, wasn't it, that they ended up saying pit this lap, and Sainz was like, "No, it's too early."
Yeah, Sainz is telling the engineers. I think he knows the feel of his tyres, but that's about it. But
were they on the? Were they medium?
You always question what they were doing, but they always do it.
Yeah, the thing that makes me laugh with Ferrari is you've got them going, "Okay, Charles, what do you think about this?" He's going, "About what?" Okay, we're going to go to Plan Z. I think, what's Plan Z? Well, I don't know. We're checking. Okay, great. So I'll just sit in here and drive until my tyres fall off or something. I don't know. And it's just like, oh, what's going on around us? We'll come back to you on that one, Carlos. We don't quite know.
Yeah.
You hear these other teams, Red Bull and Mercedes, they're always so uniform with their strategies. Obviously, we've seen a couple of issues from Mercedes the past few years, but you can count them on one hand. But it's always week in, week out with Ferrari that they're going, don't know the best strategy. They think of a strategy. They think, yeah, this could work. And then if something messes it up, like there's a safety car or one of their guys gets caught in traffic, everything just goes completely away from them.
It's like the Sainz had a great start. Soft tyres, up to P6 on the first lap. You've got to swap them. Sainz and Leclerc, they've got to swap.
Yeah, why didn't they? Sainz was on soft and Leclerc on mediums.
You just say Leclerc, right? If it don't work out, if he doesn't get ahead, if he doesn't go and then take Hamilton, who was in fourth at the time, if he doesn't go and get him, well then you'll invert you. blah de blah. But they just completely killed Sainz's strategy there and then.
It's
He was like, oh, he's sixth where we want to be, so we'll just stay there.
Yeah. Don't push for anything further. What I was thinking
Is
today,
that
it's
because
like,
they knew they weren't able to?
I think on the soft tyres, just do what you can. Get him past your teammate and then just push as far as you can. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you've
They
tried.
forced themselves down the corridor where Leclerc dropped 6 seconds, I think it was, back from Hamilton by the end of by the first pit stops. Whereas Sainz could have been ahead of Hamilton on his soft tyres 10 seconds down the road. So they then would have had separate strategies, whereas now they've got them both in line on the racetrack and effectively put on the same strategy.
What?
Yeah, they pretty much seem adamant that they're never going to let Sainz pass Leclerc.
Yeah, and that pride is really hurting them. Like, Leclerc is our number one guy, but every now and then your other guy is going to have a better race. Just swallow the pride and let him go.
That's why I was a little bit
He might
unsure
have ended up 8th or 9th on the strategy, but the strategy was soft tyres to get as many positions early as possible and then go on to the medium or the hard. But they completely killed it by then. As soon as, like, by first lap, he had opportunity to go up to 4th or 3rd. They're like, nah, stick behind your teammate. Whereas Russell was told to move because they're on different strategies. Just move straight out of the way, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a team game.
For the past 15 years or so, it's been tough being a Williams fan, but in some ways it must be worse being a Ferrari fan, because they're dangling that success and then just whipping it away from you, whereas Williams have not really had the chance to have that. It's just a bit of a case of rebuilding, but Ferrari have almost been there. I think I preferred it last year when they were winning races, but the engine was made of glass, because at least they had the opportunity to get on the podiums.
It's that old Ferrari habit that since John Todd and Ross Brawn has left. I think in the when they went to in 2010, the new iteration of the car, 2010, they had a fast car, should have won the championship. And in the simultaneous years that followed, the car just got progressively worse. Turbo hybrid era, 2016-17, relatively fast car, has got slowly worse. This new iteration, fast car last year, was probably arguably the fastest car this time last year. And since then, they just gone way back.
It has been awful.
And it's the same thing every single iteration of car. They build a good one, they just don't develop it.
No, and it is hurting.
Do you guys have an opinion on the Norris Piastri pit strategy? Because Norris got allowed to do the undercut even though he was behind on track.
I think they didn't think Norris would be that quick on the outlap. They did it because it was like a 3.5 second gap, which realistically, for a 1 lap difference in pitting, shouldn't be enough. But
plus, Piastri had a 0.3 quicker pit stop,
and that's how quick Norris's outlap was. They did it to cover Hamilton, which is probably is kind of right, but also he was fastest in the first sector, middle sector, I think, or on his outlap. He just put in an absolute monster of a lap, and I don't think they expected him to be that quick.
He came out of nowhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
Plus, it worked out all right in the end because Piastri just wore his tyres out, even though he was told to take it easy. He wasn't getting the lap times in or the length of.
That could be a bit of experience where he's leaning on the car in certain areas where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, that will come to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a very strong. It's funny because he's finished off. He should have realistically had an opponent at Silverstone, and arguably he could have an opponent here. But you still wouldn't say he's had a bad drive either time.
No. If you'd have said a few races ago they'd have 2 top 5 finishes in a row, then fair play. I wouldn't have believed you. Same as Norris, 2 second places in a row and a broken trophy. Mike Baker, Ferrari are always going to be the nearly team, but can never quite get their shit together. Yeah, bang on. We've got about
so many different. Sorry, they've had so many different team bosses, principals, even presidents. I mean, is it the facilities that are wrong? Because that's the only thing they haven't changed yet.
Might be a little outdated.
The wind tunnel is the wind tunnel telling them that
the thing is that they've lost a whole load of people working there, haven't they? Because McLaren now have Sanchez coming through. I think they've now taken someone else on.
They've got Andrea Stella, who used to be the principal. He used to be, was it Felipe Massa's race engineer?
possibly.
No, not Peter Massa.
Fernando's.
Alonso's.
But you think they're losing all this personnel? You've mentioned already that over the radio they're having stupid conversations. No one really knows what they're doing. So it's very much that they need the guys in the team that are going to do the job properly, like the other teams are.
Well, I very much look forward to Belgium this week and more Ferrari memery. We have about 5 minutes left, and we do obviously have something to catch up on from last week, Neil, because in your absence, obviously, we discussed our top 5 favourite liveries of all time.
I watched back and saw your choices.
The McLaren MP420 coming in at top 2 for both of us. Favourite for mine, second for yours, Chris.
Probably the favourite.
It's a beauty. And the Arrows A23 with a nice appearance as well. I've got to love it. Neil, I think you've got 6 for us.
I have.
Which is a shock. So, without further ado,
week to think about it. That's why.
Yeah. So,
No, I had these through as soon as it was mentioned.
Well, you can't count.
I pinged all the pictures through, and then I was like, I don't want to drop one out. I'll just put it
Give
through.
it top 6. Live by your own rules. So, Martin, have you ready on the buzzer? In 6th place, Neil. There you go.
Yep.
Mile 7.
Yeah, 2006 Renault, that is. I just remember Giancarlo Fisichella winning the Australian Grand Prix, and it used to start. He was a great driver, but he just never quite amounted to what he should have done.
No, which is a shame because he was destined for bigger things. I think had he not gone to Ferrari in 09, he may well have stayed around a bit longer. And who knows? But, Ferrari driving for, or an Italian driving for Ferrari.
That car reminds me of one of the great innovations, I think, which is the mass damper.
Yes,
it does.
That was a fantastic innovation.
Well, that was your 6th
place. And it also knocked Schumacher off his perch.
It did. Ferrari were nowhere in 05, were they? So in your 5th place, Neil, what have you got?
Come on in.
There we go. Oh, good shout. Good shout.
The 1999 Jordan.
Yeah, that is lovely. That was mentioned last week, I think, where someone in the chat said about the 98-99 Jordans. The 98 just missed out on mine. But the late 90s Jordans were beautiful.
As time went on, they slowly changed the design on the front nose, but they started losing sponsors and it became more and more bare.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the better ones. It's nice to have a nice bright yellow car.
Yeah, I miss them. They were lovely. They were good. It wasn't like a garish yellow. It should have been, but it just suited it really well. The 90s tobacco sponsorship was a great era.
Was that when they had Damon Hill and Frentzen, or was it Ralph Schumacher in that one?
That had been Ralph Schumacher in those days. That was 5th, wasn't it? What is your 4th place? Ooh. Okay, yeah.
Dislike it, Chris?
Oh, blooming grim, that, isn't it? That just reminds me of Mark Webber. That's horrible.
What are the Jaguars?
I just remember it when Jackie Stewart started up his team. They had a few good races, but in general were terrible. And then Ford came in and bought them out, or bought big share, changed them to Jaguar, brought in a nice bit of green. And yeah, the more money they pumped into it, the worse the car got. So was it 2005 or was it before then that 2004 was their last season?
Yeah, 04 was the last one for Jaguar, which is a shame because I was a big fan of the look of those cars. I've actually got a little model of one. It's just like a little generic thing that came from Argos about 20 years ago.
Jaguar became Red Bull, didn't they? So
they did.
Yeah.
So we're on to the podium. This is the big 3. So what is your 3rd place? Nice.
Kimi Raikkonen's first car.
Yeah. Was that is that 01? That's a bit later than 01 in that one.
I think it's a 2003, 2004, something like that.
Nice, 2004 Sauber. For those of you listening on audio who can't see, it's a 2004-ish.
I think it's a C23, but it was a 2004 car.
That was a Felipe Massa special, that one. Love it. So
I love the old blue with the turquoise as well.
It works so well. It really does. The Red Bull sponsorship.
They just put in the yellow barge board.
Not a fan.
Chris doesn't like any of mine. That's fine.
It's not going well so far.
To be fair, I hated his horrid red-coloured Ferrari, but...
Oh, I quite like that one. The SF 1000, whatever it was. Yeah, I quite like that one. So, top 2. Here we go. We're getting to the nitty-gritty, the good stuff. What's your 2nd place? Mine. We'll come back to that one. Oh, there we go. Hey,
There we go.
okay, yeah.
You
Very
agreed
good.
with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. The O2
I quite
arrows.
like
The orange
Oh.
and black, gotta love it. But
Yes,
the
Red
one
Bull.
of the
as you
It's got a
said,
Red Bull advert on there, so
But it's one of the prettiest
Terrible
F1
car.
cars of all time. It was absolute shite. See, they did half a season and went away, but God, it was good looking. If cars were successful
Bring
based
arrows
on
back.
looks, absolutely. I always do. When I get a new F1 game and you can make your own team, I would get arrows back always, and they're orange and black. So, also 2 surprising appearances for an orange arrows. So, what is your number 1 favorite, most lovely F1 livery? Okay,
I changed this one up. I did choose the old.
he chose the old, and he's gone. Okay. For those of you who weren't for those of you listening on audio, it's 2007 or 08 McLaren. It's one of the Vodafone McLaren ones, which are absolutely gorgeous. He loved it so much he decided to leave the studio, so he had to go. He loved it that much. The chrome and red was gorgeous. Can you guess which he added for the bonus end of snow question? Well, it's almost been snowing out there. It's been bloody cold today. I'm guessing he added as a bonus. I'm going to go with the Sauber, but he had some pretty cars in there.
has he?
Yeah, I love those Jaguars. The orange arrows. You know, I'm going to agree.
I like the orange arrow. The McLaren one is. I do like. I like that McLaren style livery. All that sort of things.
I think the noughties McLarens are beautiful because you went from the Wests to the Vodafone, and it was just insane.
We went from like the dull grey to the proper chrome.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Phone overheated.
Series of silver. It was nice.
Classic. Neil with a mic drop. That's the best car ever. I'm off. See you later.
Done.
Oh.
Yeah, I chose the MP4-20 before. The old one where the season where they had. Yes, I love that car. I just remember Kimi and how fast it was. But I believe that was the season where you could have one set of tyres for the whole race. And Kimi used to flat spot them. And then obviously he had that suspension failure in one of the races.
Yeah. And we mentioned with this that last week, yeah.
Lewis's first season, I just remember how great that car was.
It was the 07 one.
He should have won the championship out, straight off the bat.
That was insanely close, wasn't it? Because he finished, was it 1 point behind Kimi and tied on points with Fernando? That was just amazing. Yep. That was a hell of a season to watch.
Basically, if Fernando wasn't such a jerk that season, then Lewis would have won it.
If Lewis didn't beat it in China, he would have won it. That's what you got to go with.
I think swings and roundabouts.
So you agree that it was fine that Alonso held up in the pit lane and decided not to allow him to.
No. That's what they do. At the end of the day, that's what makes him Verstappen, not Vettel. They're all proper twats, aren't they? Really, in the heart of it. If it comes to it, they'll sell their own mother to win a Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's why Coulthard didn't win. He was too nice. Well, we've not got long left. Give it a few more minutes before Martin starts turning us off. We've obviously got Belgium this weekend to look forward to, so no doubt it's another Red Bull victory.
Pack your coat, Neil.
Yeah,
grab your coat. You've pulled.
There you go. You're going, aren't you? So enjoy it. You're both going, aren't you? Yeah.
We're off Friday. Is complete. It's wet.
Nice. Well. Whether it's sunny or an absolute downpour, you're going to be at the Belgian Grand Prix, and it's going to be amazing. So have a great time. I'm very jealous. So I shall be working.
I can't see past Verstappen anyway. So,
well, who do you reckon is going to be? Who do you reckon your top three? So go third. Who do you guys reckon? Chris, you first.
Top three: Piastri, Norris. No, actually, Perez, Norris, Verstappen.
You reckon Perez is not going to be a complete useless twonk like he has been?
He'll find some wheel to trip over somewhere. And that's like that. But I think the Red Bull down the straight, even though apparently Hamilton thinks they've lost that DRS, they're still rapid. And so are the McLarens rapid down the straight. And in the fast corners. So like Pouon and things like that. Eau Rouge, the Red Bull and McLarens will be rapid out of Eau Rouge up to.
Imagine Norris and
Verstappen. Aren't the Ferraris quick in a straight line?
Probably
not. But they'll find some strategy, won't they?
Yeah. Okay, we put wet tyres on. Just you never know, it might downpour in half an hour. It's Belgium. We'll go out on the wets now.
Actually, one thing about Belgium, I was thinking when I watched the Le Mans, and they've got rid of the intermediate tyre in Le Mans. and as I say, it deluged down half the track, and the other half was bone dry, and they refused to pit, and it just caused carnage. Do you think F1 should get rid of the intermediate tyre?
Yes.
No,
Imagine
because you see how much they struggle.
But like on a circuit like Spa, that could literally be, half the circuit flooded and the other half bone dry.
Thing is, you saw back in the day all these incidents, and it just seemed to be allowed to happen. And then recently, well, even in Hungary in the practice sessions, that pathetic little bit of rain they had, and they were barely able to keep on the circuit. You think a little bit worse than that, and they'll stop it.
The mudguard, or whatever it is called, the wet weather test they did with the mudguard things that stop the spray.
Yeah, McLaren and some other team was supposed to try
Mercedes. It was Mercedes and McLaren.
Oh, I hope they never bring that in. It looks god awful.
I don't know. I'm sure it was supposed to be after the Grand Prix in Silverstone, but I've not heard from anything from it, so it can't have gone well.
Never happened.
They've obviously never driven past a lorry with, mudguards. You still can't see Jackal.
Neil's top three. Go on, Neil.
Yeah, we've had your top three, Chris. What about you?
I think I'm going to go Leclerc, Norris, and Verstappen.
Okay. I reckon it's going to be Leclerc, Perez, Verstappen. I think Perez is going to get it together. But I tell you one team that is worth a watch this weekend, and that is Williams, because they are lightning fast in a straight line.
Yeah.
They were very good at Silverstone. They were decent in Austria, especially in the hands of Alex Albon. There could be one to watch out for, because certainly, through Eau Rouge down that straight, and the last sector is very, very fast. So if Albon can do his usual, put it in a good place, and then, just defend like a lion, point or two for Williams, because I'm very nervous that they're just clinging on to seventh. Mike Bacon, the only way someone else is going to win a race is if they take Max out, and I hope they do, because we'll never hear the last of it.
I can guarantee if it's going to be wet and any shunts, there'll be red flags straight away.
Oh, for
especially
sure.
with what happened a few weeks back.
Yeah, we've got full wet tyres, but we can't race in the wet.
They won't take a chance. And secondly, if it is wet tyres to start the race, it won't be going off.
No,
because I think Spa, as much of a brilliant track as it is on the ropes a little bit with safety.
Eau Rouge.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I used to love the old bus stop chicane, but they changed that for some reason. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 5 years, or in order for Spa to keep their place on the calendar.
Are you thinking where they had the double chicane at the end?
Yeah, that was the old one, the old bus stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Eau Rouge will become a chicane. Like
they have done it before. Was it a time in the 90s? They had a chicane there in the 90s. They sort of marked out the cones.
I think it will be. I think they'll change that. They've widened it as well now, haven't they?
And pushed the barriers back.
I think the way it's going, unfortunately, or can they change configuration during a race if it's wet?
I don't know. I don't think so. But you never know. They'll probably use park cars to mark out a circuit.
In order for Spa to stay on the calendar, especially with 2 deaths now in 5-6 years.
Yeah,
they'll definitely. That Eau Rouge will have to change, as much as I don't want it to change.
No. Oh, Metal J says, Neil, was it 2000 Benetton that was the bonus car? What was your bonus car?
My bonus? What, the 6th one, or?
Yeah.
That was the Renault, 2006 Renault, wasn't it? The first one I showed.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
the Benetton was still a keeping the blue, but it had something. Was it something air on the sponsor on the side? Can't remember. Well, but yeah, I just remember it being the blue and white.
Yeah, and they were beautiful. But David Bergen, welcome in. You've timed it quite badly, my friend. We're actually not about to finish. But do watch it back. Watch all of the shows back. We are, I think, pretty much out of time for this week. But obviously, we should be back next week at 7:15. Chris, Neil, enjoy Belgium this weekend. I think you'll have an absolutely amazing time. Hopefully, it'll be a nice, exciting race for you. So, yeah, I think it should. Fingers crossed and touch wood and all of that good stuff and jinxes and whatnot. I really hope it's an amazing race for the pair of you. And obviously, hopefully, it's going to be a successful and fun race. David Bergen, €5 super sticker. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, thank you very much for watching, all of you. We really enjoy that. Really appreciate you getting involved. We'll see you next week at 7:15. I have been Steve. He has been Chris. He has been Neil. Webcam. He has been Neil. Enjoy the race this weekend, and we shall see you then. Cheerio.
Yeah.